Asheville was completely devastated. So at this point, it was not a search and rescue mission, it was a body recovery mission.
Between Tuesday, September 24th and Sunday, September 29th of 2024, Hurricane Helene became a large, devastating cyclone across the southern United States. Over 200 people have died, and hundreds remain missing.
There was chaos.
Here with us is Paul Vasquez, first responder in western North Carolina, one of the most devastated communities by the floodings of Hurricane Helene. Paul, what was your role as first responder?
I was assigned to a urban search and rescue team, commonly referred to as a USAR team, which are teams designated by FEMA for emergency response across the nation.
Could you describe the first day of your arrival to the affected areas?
When my USAR team and I arrived to Western North Carolina, we had been driving for about 14 hours that day. We were stationed away from the area until FEMA told us what location we should respond to. We drove to a designated area. We dropped off some of our equipment in heavy trucks, and we made our way into downtown Asheville. It was October 1st. We were told to go check hospitals and other medical facilities to see what they needed.
How many people were on your team?
There was about 60 people in our team. Asheville was completely devastated. There was no cell phone signal, no stoplights, no electricity that you could see other than the sound of generators. The streets were eerily quiet.
What is the response of the communities when you arrive in the middle of this chaos?
In downtown Asheville is a more urban environment. The people who live there have a different mindset. My team and I responded to smaller towns outside of Asheville where the mindset is more independent, quote unquote, country boy can't survive mindset. People look after themselves, but they also would be the first one to give the shirt off the back to the neighbor.
We get a version from news and social media from people begging for help. Was that what you found there?
I think the community in the Carolinas and surrounding areas who responded went above and beyond what you would expect a normal human to do. I do think, however, there was a lack of organization. There was chaos. Thousands of people who drove from many miles away with truckloads of water, gasoline, or chainsaws. When thousands of people go onto roads that are washed out or roads that have one lane and there's no place to turn around, and all of a sudden you have hundreds of cars trying to help, it turns into chaos. And there comes a point where the people who live there or who still live there had more than adequate supplies, just wanted their life to try and get back to normal as soon as possible. Getting very frustrated with people trying to help, and also people who were just there to sightsee and take photos to post them on their social media page. Neighbors who would come up to us asking to keep the looky-loos away. And sometimes it's hard to distinguish who is a looky-loo, who's actually trying to help, and who is up to no good.
You also mentioned another social problem that emerged with looters.
Safe from being there in person, there was definitely looting going on where people took advantage of the lack of electricity, a slow police response due to more immediate things going on, or in the smaller towns outside of Asheville where local junkies took the opportunity to prey and thieve upon items in the woods or abandoned houses. I did hear stories of many residents who told me personally that they had people snooping around their house at 2 o'clock in the morning. Many of these residents successfully fended off their own property and personal safety with the use of firearms.
Was there any unexpected challenges, something that took you out of guard?
We are a search and rescue team. By the time we were instructed to report to Asheville, it was 2 to 3 days after the hurricane had struck Asheville. So at this point, it was not a search and rescue mission, but it was a body recovery mission, meaning that it's very unlikely that anybody who was caught in the flooding would still be alive. And our goal would be to find their bodies.
You were expecting to be able to help beyond that?
Yes, we originally thought that we would be responding sooner after the flooding or during the flooding event instead of days later. Our team has boats and equipment which are useful to save people's lives during flooding. The lack of leadership or direction that FEMA provided slowed down my team's response, and I'm sure other teams as well. There was a lot of confusion.
In your position, having the training to act in these kind of situations, is there anything that you would do differently?
It would be nice if the protocols had a area so that first responders could wear multiple hats at the same time.
Unfortunately, Florida prepares to face another devastating natural event. We hope for better help for the people that still remains there, and for the rescue teams, better leadership. Thank you very much for sharing your experience with us.
Thank you for speaking with me today,